I'm Diane Reese. I live at Bokoshe. I teach kindergarten in the morning, 5th and 6th grade science in the afternoon. And I live about half a mile from the Bokoshe fly ash dump site that the AES plant brings their fly ash and dumps it at that place. I would ride my bike on that road, and I did that every day. At least 5 or 6 times a week, I would be riding my bike. So I was always cautious to be looking front and back where those big trucks were coming, because I thought they were dangerous. They would come close to you, but I didn't realize that the real danger there was probably what was in those trucks, that I couldn't see it. I came down with colon cancer. So once I recovered from that surgery, I would ride my bike again, trying to get back to where I was feeling good and felt healthy again. So I would walk the road and ride my bike on that same road, not knowing the danger of fly ash, because I'd been told that there was nothing in it, it wasn't harmful. I believed that. And so in 2007, I ended up with breast cancer, had a lumpectomy, and this time I had to go through radiation and chemotherapy. I think about the kids. This dump site is 1.5 miles away from our school. And when our kids go out to play on the playground, even though they can't see the dust, the kids at school breathing that. And so I asked the class, how many of you have asthma in this class? And out of a class of 17 sixth graders, 9 kids raised their hand.
My name is Lea Colwell, and I've lived in Bokoshe for 30 years. I was on Highway 31, and a fly ash truck had wrecked and spilled over. I had a busload of students. I stopped, called the superintendent. He didn't know anything about the hazards of fly ash. None of us did. He called the EPA in Oklahoma City. EPA could not tell us anything. Superintendent made the decision, drive through it. Some of the children had asthma, and they had to go to the hospital to be treated for that.
Charles Tackett, Bokoshe, Oklahoma. I live out here on Mine Road, about a quarter of a mile north of the fly ash dump pit. I know I've got fly ash on my property. I had fly ash in my house. Will fly ash kill you? I'm sure it will, because it's a hazardous material as far as I'm concerned. Me, I've got they call it an undetermined type of asthma, caused by they don't know what.
My name is Charlie Wells. My wife died of cancer 12 years ago. After she passed away, I began to compile a list of all the people that I knew that had had cancer. My general premise, although it's not scientific, was that there is some correlation between cancer and coal. I counted it last night, and I think there are 75 to 85 names. We are at the east end of Mine Loop Road. Diane Reese is a cancer survivor. Next door to her, Pam Phillips is a recent cancer survivor. Another block away, the residence of the Porter. Naomi Porter's husband died of cancer. We're turning on to Blue Goose Road. The next house, Carolyn Lehman. Carolyn Lehman is a cancer survivor. The next house, Harold and Peggy Summers. Peggy Summers has recently died of cancer. Across the road, Denise Holstead. Denise is a cancer survivor. The next place, he died of lung cancer. We have come 1 mile down Buck Creek Road, and on the right is a house that was built by Dorothy and J.D. Ollie. Both of them have died of cancer. On this loop, Connie Wiles recently died of colon cancer. Approximately a mile east of there, 19 or 20-year-old girl died of brain cancer. On the left, Virginia Vinson had throat cancer. Continuing on north, on the right, where a gentleman by the name of Gary Gibson used to live. Gary Gibson was a deputy sheriff. He died of cancer. Across the driveway on the left is where R.C. Brown used to live. R.C. Died of brain cancer.
My name is Sue Hudson, and I am a resident of Bokoshe, Oklahoma. In 2004, my daughter got sick. They put her in the hospital because she had a bad bronchial infection. On Friday, the doctor came in and told us that she had 3rd stage cancer of the lungs. 17 days from the day I put her in the hospital, she passed away.
Joe Echo, and I live at Bokoshe. And I have been on breathing 2 years and on oxygen 24 hours a day. We've had a lot of dust and things from the dumping. I keep a breathing filter here beside the living room door, and the filter has to be cleaned on it often also. But I did have 5 doctors to want to know if I live close to something that this could have happened, and they said I sure could. I sure could have picked it up from that. I've never smoked, but I have emphysema.
Sandra Buchholz, otherwise known as Sassy's. I own a cafe on the entrance of Bokoshe. It has affected everything around us. My cafe here suffers with a lot of the dust and stuff that's tracked in and out. My biggest concern in this area is health. Out in the area where I live, I know there's like 13 people that have had cancer, have died from cancer, or are still in process of it. The ash debris that falls, nothing stays clean. And who else is going to have to die or, enormous amount of illness before somebody wakes up and realizes this does have a lot to do with it.
My name is Susan Holmes, and we're actually on the back side of the Making Money Having Fun permitted land for the fly ash pit here outside of Bokoshe, Oklahoma. It goes about 50 foot in the air at the highest point. And on this side where you see the fly ash, it's just the residue left over from the bottom where the creek's not running right now because it's so dry. That's just fly ash that's just down there in the bottom of the creek.
My name's Dub Talbert. I live here in Bokoshe. I have as my next door neighbor a fly ash disposal site created from the AES plant here in Shady Point. I have a little grandson that he has asthma real bad. He has bronchitis or whatever you call it. It's all respiratory. His 2 sisters are bothered with the same thing. They just live about a quarter of a mile here from me.
All of us in the family, my husband and I, and all 4 children, have had problems that we've noticed for the last probably 10 years that we think might be associated with the fly ash. Our daughter's had 2 foot surgeries because of joint problems. It's just ruined everything around here for us. We just, hopefully maybe they'll get things, more regulated and that stuff won't happen. That's about it.